We bring
Nice
in Rachel Siegel. She covers the Federal Reserve and the domestic economy for the Washington Post. Rachel, as you talk to economists and business leaders across the board, how much do they say that all of the price increases we have are fundamentally driven by gas prices, and how much of it is everything else?
Well, when you look at the top line inflation figures that we study every month to get a sense of what's happening in the economy, gas and energy and fuel costs are a huge driver. That's definitely been the case since Russia's invasion of Ukraine and has been a major part of the inflation story over the last couple of months. That said, that doesn't mean that everything else has not been affected by inflation either. We're still seeing cars, airfares, medical care being affected by inflation. So even while gas are some of the ways that people feel inflation most tangibly in their lives, I'm sure they're feeling it in other places too.
You think about how this was going to be sort of the summer of freedom, right? Last year we thought it was going to be. This year it really was. And now people already are starting to make tough choices. They're not buying plane tickets. People are changing travel plans. They're changing barbecue plans. Cost of a summer road trip has gone up 3 times since last year. Cookouts up significantly, well more than 10%. Hotel rates up 50%. All these numbers sort of look at what's happening now. When you talk to business leaders and to economists, how much do they say that the cutback of consumption by the American consumer is going to change significantly what happens to the American economy?
Well, it's one of the things that we look most closely at in order to get a sense of how consumers are feeling about the future and whether or not there's an increased likelihood of a recession. Consumer spending is an overwhelming driver of the economy, and it is things like what people are doing for their vacations, how they're spending their money over the summer that give us some sort of hint.
So we're already feeling the change.
We're feeling the change in small ways. We're not necessarily seeing massive signs of a slowdown or massive signs of panic, but I think there is this underlying sense of anxiety about what's to come and whether people are starting to change their behavior as a result.
Yeah, for sure. When people say they're worried about inflation, it in a poll, it sort of translates into so many other things. You said the increasing likelihood of a recession, and there's a real debate now about whether we've already sort of lit the fuse on that happening or whether we can come back from the precipice, to mix my metaphors. Here's President Biden earlier today.
I promise.
Recession's even more likely than ever.
Not the majority of them aren't saying that. Come on, don't make things up, okay? Now you sound like a Republican politician. I'm joking. That was a joke. But all kidding aside, no, I don't think it is. I was talking to Larry Summers this morning, and there's nothing inevitable about a recession.
All right, put aside for a second, I'm old enough to remember when attacking reporters was bad, but nevertheless, from what you're hearing, is a recession inevitable without a major change in policies?
Well, the Federal Reserve has set out a very clear plan to raise interest rates in order to slow the economy down. It's very unclear as to whether they'll be able to do that with the kind of precision needed to avoid a recession. Last week, the Federal Reserve also put out a set of projections that give a sense of where they think the economy is headed. And it's hard to read those projections without seeing a major economic slowdown and even too much of a slowdown on the horizon too. Even Janet Yellen said that there's going to take a combination really of luck in order to avoid a catastrophic recession. But again, the Fed doesn't have precise tools in order to get things slowed just the right amount.
Yeah, and you said it so well at the beginning. It's one thing to talk about the terms and the semantics. It's another thing for how we all feel, that deep uneasiness now that so many Americans feel. Rachel, great reporting. As always, we continue to follow it in the Washington Post. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.